release is the conducting gesture that shows the end of a note or sometimes the end of a musical work. Releases can be given with one hand or with both. And at the end of the release gesture, the hands and arms must be in position for the next conducting gesture. The style and through the size of the gesture, the dynamics must match with the music that is being conducted. And like all gestures, the release must have a prep, an ictus, and a rebound. The easiest release to give is the baton hand loop release. This can also be done by the left hand, or, of course, by both. Notice that when I do this release with both hands, the hands move in opposite directions in the rotation, and they always come back to the center for the end of the release. The direction of the release of the baton hand release must match with and be governed by the actual beat of release. For example, in a 4/4 pattern, if the release beat is count 3, then the release gesture of the loop must be clockwise. This is because the general movement from count 2 to count 3 is already basically a clockwise motion. If the release is on count 4, the direction of the loop will be in a counterclockwise motion for the same reason. A great deal of music ends with a short note, sometimes called a stinger or bump note. It would be inappropriate to show this loop gesture for that type of ending. Instead, you might simply create a staccato ictus on the release beat. For example, if the release beat is count 3 of a 4/4 pattern, you would simply conduct a short count 3 as the release. Because the left hand does not have a baton in it, it is more flexible in terms of the variety of releases that are possible. One very good release for the left hand is this, in which I simply turn the hand over while I open and close my fingers. To produce this gesture for the preparatory, I move my elbow hinge at the same time that I rotate my wrist and open my fingers. When I close my fingers, I will return them to the same spot where I opened them to show the ictus of the release. A more gentle release might be achieved by rolling the fingers of the left hand. This gesture looks like this. To produce the prep of this gesture, I am using my elbow hinge again, pulling my hand back towards my face. As I start the rotation of the hand, I move the hand toward the ensemble and roll my fingers. As I change direction from pulling back to moving towards the ensemble, I identify the ictus point to where I will return and close my fingers. This particular gesture can be made to look more dramatic by making it larger, having a faster travel speed, and by scooping up the ensemble like this. This gesture looks to the ensemble as if you are scooping up their sound with the release gesture. A more forceful left-hand release might be structured in this way. Be careful not to close your hand into a fist when you make a forceful gesture. In doing this gesture, I'm raising my arm high as if shaking hands up high. I'm keeping my fingers together, again preparing the gesture by pulling the hand back to my face, and as I come around, I keep my fingers together. This looks much more forceful, especially when I keep the travel fast. Generally speaking, slow travel will create a more gentle gesture. Whatever gesture is used, you must think about the prep, the ictus, and the rebound. And the prep of the right hand baton loop release is actually part of a beat pattern. But with the left hand, the prep gesture is usually a pulling back using the hinge of your elbow to pull the hand back towards your face as the same time that you rotate your wrist or open and close your fingers. The ictus is identified by opening and closing the hand or by actually identifying the ictus as you pull your hand back. It is important that the gesture begin and end at the same spot. The rebound of a release gesture shows the ensemble the amount of resonance required for the note. And generally speaking, the longer the rebound, the more resonance is required. For example, a short note should not have much rebound, if any at all. That might be an appropriate release for a short note. If you want more resonance on the sound, on the release, you should have more rebound. The more rebound given, the longer the resonance. To practice these releases, begin with the baton hand loop release. Once you can produce this simple release on each beat of the beat pattern, then add the left hand and conduct mirror releases. Once you can do these on each beat of the beat pattern, then progress to the left hand release. As you add the left hand releases, put it in conjunction with a beat pattern. Independence of hand is an important aspect to develop in using releases.